We're streaming. We're live on the internet now. So it's time to stop talking about your particular relationship with my bookshelf.
Matthew's Librophilia.
It's platonic.
Hi, Josh.
Josh thinks I'm funny.
I don't understand it. I don't even
There are
understand
platonic dialogues. I can see Euclid's Elements, and I'm assuming that within 3 feet from Euclid's Elements is one of the platonic dialogues. Therefore,
They're in here somewhere.
yeah. They're in here. Oh, I've done it! I've triggered Matthew to go search through his bookshelf to find books.
Point for Josh.
It's about as easy to get Matt to bring books to the computer screen as it is to get me to tell Bigfoot
It
stories.
so is.
Here's the Fado.
Nice! Hey, Matt, which one is the Kakakarax? The frogs.
Oh, the frogs.
It's the frogs! It's a delightful onomatopoeia.
I think I had the Fado out because I had to write a paper on... I don't know. Never mind. We don't want to go there. It's Twitch.
We need better lighting for David. Matt, your lighting is very acceptable.
Yeah.
David, yours is dark, dank, dour, and
just like myself.
Dave,
my
shut your stuff down and plug this in and use this.
oh.
I got another webcam.
Oh, I am out of USB ports.
Well, we don't need your microphone. We're not using your microphone anymore, so.
I knew that.
So both you and Dave are on the same
But
audio channel?
close down your thing and close down Chrome. Yeah, because we're sitting at the same table. So we had 2 microphones, and we actually worked really hard to get the microphone working on him.
Do you want me to plug in my podcasting mic to see if there's a significant increase in audio quality?
I would. I mean, it would be nice. We can use
Yeah, I'm
this
going
time
to use it. Yeah, I'm going to use it, so we may as well hear what it's like right now.
This is this is mostly a technical test to see if we've got the technology working.
How do I mount this thing?
Just set it.
Okay.
Like that. It's weighted. It's weighted so that the weight on the back and the weight on the front are.
Okay, so now I need to go to my
Windows should detect it and set it up and get it working.
automatically.
But I mean, it'd be nice to check and see if it's actually there.
Device.
Yeah, sure. That's probably that one up there. That one.
This guy.
Nice.
Okay.
It looks like it's there.
Looks like it's there.
So shut down Chrome and start Chrome back up again. Or whichever one you're using that actually worked.
All right. Can you hear a significant increase in the quality of audio?
Okay.
Not yet.
What?
Oh, I was talking to Josh.
Send me the. Now send me.
Can you hear me at all?
Words.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Because now the audio is coming through the mic.
No, I can hear you. I can hear you, Josh.
Can you hear me more clearly
Can you
with
send me
this
an invite
podcasting
to-
microphone?
Sweet.
Does my audio quality seem to have improved?
Run to chat.
Not really, but you have a very powerful voice. I think that both mics are. And I think are over the.
Invite.
Yeah, I'll do it again.
I would assume that streaming rates and whatnot have a higher impact on audio fidelity than my hardware.
Huh. I just sent Dave an invite and he didn't get it. Okay. How about this? Click that. You mountebank.
I did it.
Make sure you're picking the right.
Microphone. It doesn't matter. Okay, that's
Not the integrated camera. Click. Don't click allow. Don't click the don't allow. Click the drop down.
here.
No, the one that says integrated camera.
There's nothing else.
Oh, there's nothing else? Okay,
Like
don't
a
allow.
Horrible women.
Uh-huh.
See if you can pick a
Right.
different
Must
camera
be-
besides the integrated camera.
Well,
Yeah, that
There
one.
we go. Okay.
Now click done. Join Hangout?
Oh. Yeah, I guess we-
Nope.
But it's not showing you. It's not showing us you. I don't know, man. We'll try and get it. We'll try and get it. Oh, boy. Nice.
What?
What?
Hey,
Hey.
Hey?
you have a
You have a
microphone
microphone
that's
that's
recording
recording
us.
us.
Turn it off
Turn it
so
off so our
our
echo
echo stops.
stops.
Oh.
There we go.
Better?
Much better.
Yes, and now it's gone.
And
And the video feed is not tanking out because the overall available resources were maxed or something like that.
Yay.
well,
I'll just replace my video feed with a picture of a lizard.
you can do that. If your video is
So-
not working one day, that'd be great.
Matt, is my image cutting out or blurring or anything?
I mean, it's not as sharp as mine seems to be, but I think this webcam is a nice one that my parents got me for Christmas. I think it's pretty
Okay.
nice.
So this is the built-in camera in my laptop, so I guess that means that I'll need to get an external camera.
Doesn't matter. This is fine.
Doesn't matter.
I
This is fine.
don't care about I don't care.
You
I
don't
mean,
care about getting higher quality video.
If you care, then that's good.
Okay.
But I think that like the important, I don't know. I like that using video can capture people's facial expressions and emotions. You know. So-
Yes, it is good to capture the emotions of the human experience upon the video camera. Nino.
Oh hey, Dave's back.
With
This is with your laptop camera,
yeah, this is a crappy camera.
which is even worse than Josh's.
Oh.
Wow.
Sucker.
It's fine.
So
Doesn't matter.
camera fidelity goes Matt, Josh, Dave.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
would
you
say
can
that.
like sort of even read some titles in the books back there.
Yeah, I saw elements there. I see Napoleon or Nabokov.
Nabokov, yes.
Nabokov.
You
That's
read it
pretty
in
good.
Nabokov? I love Nabokov.
Ellison. Oh, you've got a lot of Nabokov. My goodness. Yep. Okay, now I have to get better camera. Put stuff in the background.
Do you
So
like
when
my mom got me this spiky turtle shell that's a pillow.
a blue shell. I saw the blue shell pillow. It's pretty
Oh,
awesome.
we got
Carol's a lady with her pulse on
And
many
a Swedish
things.
Santa gnome.
Swedish Santa gnome. Nice. Oh, that's great because there's going to be gnomes that look like that in one part of the world for sure. There you go. I have.
There we go.
Ah!
Top of his head was cut off.
I have Richard Iowade.
Do you know he
He's a funny
Signed by the man himself.
man. Nice.
very nice. Have
Very
you
good.
seen The Mandalorian?
Yes.
Did
yes,
you know
I have.
he did the voice of the pilot robot?
I
Yeah.
recognized it instantly.
Episode 6. It was great.
I recognized his dulcet tones immediately.
So Josh,
So Matthew,
if you go to twitch.tv/
his dulcet tones immediately.
I have to not do this. So
This.
Josh, but it's
So Matthew,
if you go
you're
to
crossing the
twitch.tv,
feeds. You're crossing the streams.
I'm crossing the streams, but you can go on twitch.tv/ the Starfall Collective and see us right now. Isn't that neat?
Twitch.tv/the Starfall Collective. Live.
It's on a little bit of a delay, which is I checked the option that lets their servers put in a little bit of delay if it needs to, because we're not probably going to be chatting with users very much.
That's because we're not probably going to be chatting with users very much.
Users are for the weak.
I mean, not users, but people who are like looking at the stream,
Twitch chat.
and Twitch chat.
Twitch chat.
I was just enjoying playing Reggie Watts with W. Kamal Bell with loops. Okay, I'm gonna hit pause.
Hey, there we are.
Pause.
Brought us
Okay.
up in the app.
With W. Kamal Bell.
Nice. I just streamed this too. Okay, Josh, here.
Oh, the guitar.
All right, Matt. Are you gonna play some half-orc punk rock content for us?
Madness.
Lo-fi half-orc jams.
Nice. You have to do that for Dissonant Whispers. Like, Dissonant Whispers should require a feedback loop.
But the idea is that...
Dissonant Whispers should totally require a feedback loop.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to... Dissonant Whispers is definitely going to be some just nasty guitar sounds. So nasty. I've been workshopping... I need a pick. Talk with Dave about his character for a little while. I'm
So
going to
Dave,
come back in a second with a pick. So.
have you thought more about my offer to make an exchange of disadvantage on all ear-based perception with advantage on tail-based perception?
No.
So S waves versus P waves. S waves would become much more diminished to you, but P waves you would be extremely sensitive to.
I have not thought about this anymore since we talked.
Okay, that's fair. What's your instinctive place? What's your instinctive posture?
Probably not, but I think I'd like to maybe fill him out a little more and then see if it fits.
Sure. So, you would like for him to be a ranger?
Yeah. So, did you read the write-up?
Oh, no, I have not had time to read any write-ups. So, let's see here. These would be under...
They're in the character
folders. Okay.
In my character folder.
All right, I'm looking for that folder right now. All right, there's Starfall Collective, my drive. Oh, you put these, Dave. You put these on the Starfall Collective drive.
Yeah, the Google Drive.
Or the Starfall Collective. I need to sign into that. We should not see what the credentials are for logging into that over Twitch.
Nope. Google Apps. I don't know how to have the... I guess I should.
Oh my goodness. Now I have to figure out
Close
where,
the-
in which of these 17 threads, that information is located.
Yeah, there is that.
Okay.
Drive. Okay, I'm gonna.
Matt, did you send login credential information?
Yeah.
Okay, did you send it via Google Hangouts, possibly?
Text message. There's a thread that you'll see Dave's picture of a lizard man at the bottom.
On that one. Okay, I found that one recently.
Yep. So scroll up, and you'll see a. But I don't. There's nothing in that. That account doesn't have anything in it.
Oh, here we go. Play card.
I thought that Dave said that that was where he put his docs. There we go. Got it.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Add yet another account. Boy, this is good audio.
We want as much dead air as we can possibly get. I mean, I think dead air is just really important.
We got to get those numbers up. Wow, these guys have been streaming for 1,700 hours. No, it's just a lot of watching him play Dominion.
Oh, I guess I could. There's also a useful video that I watched about lizards.
The Starfall Collective.
Lizard folk race.
Okay, interesting. The email address and password. Oh, I gotcha.
I'm adjusting our stream so that I have a Google Doc showing next to your face, Josh.
Nice. Request access. You need permission. You will receive an email if and when your request is approved. Interesting. I think somebody who's got the security credentials for this account is going to need to answer in the affirmative to an email saying somebody's trying to log into this account at such and such location with such and such device. Is this a bad thing? And you need to say, no, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Let them in.
Let me just
Dungeon cast, that's what it's called. Here we go. This is the...
What account?
The Starfall Collective.
I need my headphones. I've been looking for them.
Your dad broke mine, so I'm borrowing them.
I know, then I'll give you a different pair. I need those.
Okay, can you go give me a different pair then?
Josh, this is not essential. You can give them up now.
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
I tried hitting mute, and that did not work. Can you hear me more clearly now?
Not seemingly.
Okay, I'm talking, and this is normal with the podcast with the blue Yeti blue on, and this is me still continuing to talk the same way, but I've hit mute on the Yeti. Can you hear a difference?
Couldn't hear a difference at all.
Wow.
So I think the Yeti is not actually what is going to us.
That is kind of fascinating. What if I do this? Now you can hear me differently. I can hear myself differently. Do I sound different to you? If I talk like this and now it's off and I just click the button, can you hear a difference?
No difference. We're hearing some other microphone than the one that you've got up against your mouth.
Fascinating.
Because we weren't getting any lip sound or anything.
That is fascinating. You know what I'm going to do? I might just restart the computer. Well, actually, hang on. Let's Let's think about this. Let's
But you should give your wife back her headphones.
Oh, I will. I will. Don't you worry about that.
I just really don't want to be the cause of any.
Oh no! It's all good. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
I'm gonna say numbers. 1, 2,
1,
3.
2, 3.
Okay, so that mute actually works.
What's Thack the Thunderer's mom's name, do you think, Dave?
Mom's name?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what my name is.
Okay.
Back the...
So she's a,
Oh, maybe I should make a... Maybe I should... Create and share. This is Dave's character. He doesn't have a name yet. Lizard. Ranger. There.
Okay, I've got headphones back. And you guys can hear me?
Yep.
yeah, I can hear you. Do you like, never mind, hold on. No. No, 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 yes. Vicious Mockery, the cantrip. Josh, I want to compose. Can you hear me, Josh?
I can hear you.
I want to compose some like insult songs for
Nice.
for my character's Vicious Mockery cantrip.
Okay.
And the best one I've come up with so far is the one I sang for you a little while ago.
I liked it. It was
Because I heard from a reputable source that your father is a hamster and your mother's a horse.
good. I noticed that.
I'm not sure if
liked
it's
it.
too inappropriate for Twitch.
I think we'll be able to get it by the mods.
What rhymes with hygiene?
Spy Gene. Sly Fiend. Slime Jeans. Slime Jeans.
Wow, Rhyme Zone is useless. Okay, there's some useful ones here.
Lime Queens.
14.
14.
Caffeine Canteen. Never mind. Hygiene's not a good one.
Audio devices. So it seems to think that it's use this device for sound. Use this device for sound.
This is why I wanted to have this stream. We can sort through these technical issues.
Yeah. Mute. Can you hear me any differently?
I can.
You're good.
I'm still hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Josh, Thack is a rebellious young man. And I think that I can't hear you, Josh. Cannot hear you, Josh. I'm sorry.
What was your
Now
character's
I can
name
hear
again?
you.
What was your character's name again?
Thack.
Thack. That's right.
Thakk.
That's a good orc spelling.
Thack the Thunderer.
Excellent.
He thinks that having an epithet that starts with the same sound as his name is going to be good for his career.
Good. Excellent. I'm gonna at the very least leave the hangout and come back and see if that is able to fix it, because I plugged in the mic while I was in the hangout, so I'm gonna leave it. I think I'm gonna restart my computer.
Whatever browser you're using.
Yeah.
Turn that off. Plug in whatever hardware you want to use, then turn on the browser again.
Right, will do. Okay. All right. I'll see you on the flip side.
I was going to ask Josh if I could make Thack's father an actual paladin, or if he would have to be just a soldier. But I'm going to put paladin.
Sure.
I think Thack is like just turned 20. Which is actually old, which is like, 22 or 23 by half-orc standards. Maybe I should have him be 18. He's young, he's not smart yet.
A punk.
He's a punk. He's punk rocker. He's a punk. Oh yeah, wait, am I hearing? Josh is calling.
Oh.
But I'm gonna send him the link.
I am back, and hopefully with better audio.
What's up, bro?
Is the audio better?
Seems fine to me, but
In a world riddled
what do I
by
know of anything?
That's not better audio. That's much worse. I can barely hear that.
In a world riddled with starfalls.
Josh, I know what those mics sound like. If you rub it, I'll be able to do this. Yeah, we're not hearing that mic at all.
What about now?
Like,
Oh, no. Okay.
You can hear
Yeah.
this, right? I'm tapping
Yeah.
the head of my mic,
And I'm tapping the head of mine.
and I'm not hearing it at all.
Okay. Dang it.
You got some other microphone going on there, bro. Buddy.
Harder. Don't hit it harder. That's a bad idea. Get the.
Dang it. What is happening here, folks? Why is it doing this?
Well, the good thing, Josh, is that, it's 9:50 Sunday night. It's not urgent at all.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, can I make Thak's father, who he's rebelling against, an actual paladin? Or does he just have to be a soldier in, like... How powerful can I make his father? Can his father be like an NPC with like a heroic class? Or would he just be a soldier?
Yeah, I was currently planning on Thak's dad being a warrior who is not necessarily the general of the army, nor is he a foot soldier. He is of middling high rank.
Yeah.
A man of some renown.
He quit soldiering though.
Okay.
I'm writing up the story now.
Okay, so here's how much of that story do you want to just write as opposed to roleplay?
We'll write it. It's in the past. It's in his past.
Okay. Yeah, so I was envisioning your dad and your mom having you, but then you and I talked about the fact that you possibly have at least one half sibling.
I think I think his mother has a brother who took Thak under his wing and took Thak out. So here's what I think I like. I think Thak's mother is a leather worker. And because she has a tannery, she's one of the few orcs who actually leads a settled existence with a house. And and doesn't roam around in nomadic bands, like pillaging. And I feel like orcs, since they're nomadic, probably have a lot of cattle and sheep.
Well, that is one of the things that I wanted to world build with you guys, is like what are the creatures that orcs work with on the rolling hill grasslands of the world?
I mean, I feel like orcs are kind of cowboys. It's kind of the orc human conflicts has always, or thinking about it now, it seems very much to me like the farmer versus rancher conflict. Where they're roaming around all the time, you don't trust them, and sometimes they attack you for like no good reason, but really actually like you're fighting over water because you're taking all the water to like water your crops. The humans are taking all the water for their crops. When they expand their crops, they're like farms. They use up the whole river, and then the orcish cattle herds or sheep herds or whatever.
So I was thinking of them in terms of cowboys and Indians, with the orcs being the Indians, because they're the ones who are closer to the land, living in the wilds. Their culture is built around living in, nomadic, moving, mostly foot-based bands.
So, I mean, this is something that we can decide. One thing that I decided for Overleaf is that orcs are not by nature evil,
mm-hmm.
but their patron is their patron god is like a bad guy. They have a
Right.
bad guy for a god, and so that's the deal. But in what D&D says in the 5th edition rules are that orcs are evil.
Right.
Like they have an innate tendency to evil as a species, and that makes them easily disposable bad guys. You're like, orcs are just Nazis. They're just all Nazis. And you can slaughter as many of them as you want, and it's fine because every orc is intrinsically evil. And
it's not super interesting.
That's not incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
I like for these conflicts to have more of to have a little more history and a little more actual like interest behind them. Like why, like orcs have anger issues. We know that.
Right.
They have like rages, and they have like they worship this god that's like psycho angry all the time.
Right.
But that didn't come from nowhere.
I think I want orcs to believe in a certain kind of medicine, so to speak. Medicine, in the way that Native Americans mean medicine, and the human Nords, basically, that live in the mountains to the west, are kind of an honor society. But I think the orcs probably have a decent bit of their own honor code in their society as well. So you've got two honor societies that kind of are crashing down onto the village life and testing its loyalties. But its longest standing loyalty is to the Elven Alliance. And there's an oath tree in the middle of the village in a grove that has a certain amount of Fey-wild kind of magic to it. And that grove is an integral part of the town.
How would you characterize the difference between orcish honor systems and human honor systems?
So there's not one human honor system, and the barbarians that live to the west are very much like straight Vikings. The one who brings victory to the clan brings honor to the clan, and honor and victory are good in and of themselves because they live in a harsh and unforgiving world where their subsistence depends upon spreading out, taking, and bringing back. Whereas the orcs are very much, they will conquer and fight each other, but at the end of the day, I think orcs find themselves to be a little bit more like the Fremen. They believe that their lives on the plains and that their lives, the relationships that they have with the animals that they husband and hunt form their identity about as much as their wars with each other. So in some ways, they're probably a little more, they've got something wholesome about them that even the barbarians don't have.
Stronger ties with
nature. Yes. Yeah. Stronger ties with that.
I mean, one thing that I want very much to keep, is that whatever honor code orcs have, anger issues are not considered bad to orcs. Like self-control is not a virtue for orcs. For an orc, if somebody like slights you and you don't smite them, that's dishonorable. Like keeping your cool is not for orcs.
I'm writing this down.
Yeah, they're much more likely to. They're like the Dothraki. A challenge needs to be answered. Period. And that's probably common to both the human barbarians and the orcs. They're both you need to step up. Your honor is on the line here. So,
but I'm trying to draw a distinction.
Well, okay, so they hold on. It sounds like they've got a typical orc like alpha complex going on. I mean, like that you see in a lot of orcish, like Warcraft has that going on. You know, where there's an alpha, you know, there's kind of an orcish alpha, and the big, like, orc war bosses are always going bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, I
And,
think
you know,
one of the
that
underlying
kind of dynamic is driving a lot of their sociology, their cultural interactions.
Yeah, one of the fundamental differences between humans and orcs is that it's exceedingly rare than a few dozen that lasts for more than a season, right? Because they just don't really have it in them neurologically, socially, to pack up at a bigger level than that, because the hierarchies fall apart because it's so ego driven, it's so
It takes
hierarchically
a
top
really
top down.
exceptional orc
Yes.
to
To gather a
command
large
and
band.
maintain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And anytime orcs have ever tried to form war bands in the hundreds, it gets the attention of the barbarians, of the elves, of the just free folk, because in this plain area that you live in, there's also a society of people that are kind of like the Rohirrim, and they're small, and they're I might do away with the Rohirrim thing and instead have them be centaurs. And so one of the fundamental kind of conflicts in the land is that the centaurs want order and try to enforce a certain amount of order for their own sake, and they don't really give a crap about how their enforcing of order affects humans. They don't do it for the free folk, for the other free folk. They do it because they were native to these plains
What if
before
you
the
did
orcs showed up.
something, like, not centaurs, but something weird and big, like maybe griffins,
Giants.
giants, sphinxes. You know, like, there's very few of them, but
Just a few
they
guardians.
come down hard. Like, they can come down hard.
I'd be willing to do something like an Allosaurus, or not necessarily a Tarrasque, because Tarrasques need to be like in-game big bosses. But I was kind of thinking about incorporating dinosaurs in this world on some level, because I really want to have
Lizard
dinosaur
folk.
worgen, like Velociraptor worgens.
Riding dinosaurs? Yes,
Lizards.
please.
Lizards
yes.
riding dinosaurs.
At some point, you guys might even have the opportunity to, like, possibly, yeah.
I mean, if
Do
there
things involving
if there
dinosaurs.
are, like, larger reptilian creatures, I'm thinking lizards would probably have some sort of relationship to them.
Yep, that's pretty fair. That's
Either
pretty
as,
fair.
like,
That's pretty fair.
you know, either as, like, pack beasts, or if they're higher intelligence, the lizards have, you know, kind of a symbiotic.
That's fair.
you know,
I'd be willing to
social
say
connection
that
to them.
lizard folk have a not quite Dinotopia level society, but they are more integrated with these prehistoric type archetype creatures. Yeah.
Are you at all familiar with like the Warhammer Fantasy lizard folk?
Not as such. No.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
I'm vaguely aware that they exist.
You know, so the D&D lizard folk, as I gather, are kind of homogenous in terms of, like, you know, they're just all like bull lizards. Warhammer Fantasy has, yeah, I mean, like lizard armies have your basic bull lizard, but then, you know, they use these like smaller salamander type things called skinks as skirmishers. They have even bigger bull lizards. They have giant stegosaurus type lizards that they ride. They have, you know, they have pterodactyl lizards that fly. Yeah, I mean, there's like a whole, you know, different ecological strata of reptilian things that are all brought together in that.
So that's
you could
interesting.
go
That sounds like something that we could do a Starfall about, and kind of zoom in on the history of not because the history of whatever Starfall seeded both the lizard men and all the other great lizards, and then why the lizard men in particular are sentient where the others are not.
Yeah.
That's something we should build as part of world building tomorrow.
Yes, I agree. I think that'd be a really fun thing for us to do.
What year do the lizards land, and how does that work?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
imagine if like it's orcs and dwarves and humans who are on the land, and they've sort of settled into a pattern, and then one year, bam, dinosaurs.
Yep.
One thing I do envision for lizard, like I'm thinking they're a distinct minority within the world. Like there aren't very many large lizard settlements, and like just population wise, they're a lot smaller than, you know, some of the major races.
I would say that there's probably some sort of like mountain range that encompasses. Again, this is all stuff we can do in world building, but something like there's a mountain range that forms a bowl in the middle, and that is a thick, lush jungle that's the right ecosystem for them. So there's just not a really huge incentive for them to bleed outside of.
Well, and we can put bowl. Them. That's another thing that's, I guess, typical of the lizard folk, is they tend to occupy like wastelands or areas that are otherwise inhospitable or inaccessible to other groups.
Right.
So I'm thinking there were, and I don't know, we might just need to look at a map to figure out where to drop them, but you know, I'm imagining like people kind of know that like that area is lizard territory, but they don't really know much else. They know you don't go in there, because if you go in there, you don't come out, and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think that the area where that first Starfall with lizards happened, like that's that area, and then there are lizards who have migrated elsewhere for all sorts of different reasons, but like that original place within like, you know, 50 square miles of that first Starfall is like lizard zone.
Yeah, so that was a question, I guess, that I wasn't sure about, was whether there was like one major lizard settlement or maybe a couple. But
there should be lizard settlements outside of that main zone, because they've.
Well, I'm thinking
they're slowly migrated
are really
out.
Insular. Yeah. And I'm thinking this is where the ranger network comes in. Is that you so another thing I was thinking, the lizards are very. Like, okay, a thing about lizards are all about survival. You know, so preservation of self and preservation of the clan are like their driving instincts. So one thing I was thinking there was they're very much afraid of the Starfalls, because Starfalls tend to wreck stuff. So so they you know, and they're also very concerned about maintaining their territorial integrity. So they've developed this network of these rangers that go out and, you know, sort of collect information and also kind of regulate their borders, and investigate the Starfalls so that they can, so that like the lizard shamans back in Lizardville can study the lizards or study the Starfalls more.
Right. That is
And-
definitely why you were in this village then, because there
Yeah.
was a Starfall maybe a few recently, like maybe like a year or
Okay.
two ago, and you guys have heard rumors that something unnatural is happening in that place.
Yep.
And it borders your area. Like you had to travel
Yeah.
a ways to get there, but not like cross continent, right? You just had to travel into the next kind of cluster of civilization and settlement.
And that's something I think that fits. I like that.
Okay.
For my character, I envision like the Lizard Ranger network is pretty, pretty widespread. And like again, there aren't going to be many of them, but especially like in areas closer to the Starfall, like to the Starfall side of the world, like the Starfall face. You know what I mean, right?
We should decide, Josh. You know how the continent is, or the world is flat, and it's moving through this field of stars at kind of an angle, like that, diagonal, right. So that either the east or the west or the north or the south or some particular area receives more starfalls than the other side.
Gotcha. Okay,
so I was
envisioning. We can say that it's denser on one side or the other, but I was also envisioning these things coming in like an arm of them is being intersected. So like in a swath. Okay,
that can sometimes happen.
In a swath, in this swath of the world, there was a greater scattering of them.
Sure, yeah.
Like
I mean, that can definitely happen. Kind of but also, just from the random distribution of stars, it's more likely, and the way that the planet is moving at an angle through them, it's more likely for them to fall on the west than on the east. So the east tends to be more settled territory where people can build cities with greater that'll last for longer, and farms that'll last for longer. Whereas if you go all the way to the west, it's like there's all sorts of nutty stuff there that nobody's even heard of before, from like a little starfall that nobody noticed, and it wasn't very successful. It didn't spread very far. Maybe just this one dungeon that has this thing in it.
So I'm thinking, like, along those lines, the main Lizardville is going to be somewhere in the less populated, or the region where starfalls are less concentrated.
Yes,
because if they didn't land there in the first place, they would have migrated there away from the starfalls, and then the lizard rangers, you're going to see more of them in
you guys
Starfall area where the starfalls are more concentrated. That's where the lizard rangers are going to be wandering around a lot.
I think the lizard men are kind of the Adamic figures within the races that emerged from the reptilian starfall. The lizard men are the sentient kind of steward type race. And so you guys looked around and went, holy crap, we're getting attacked on all sides. We better fan out and find a really good place to settle down long term. And so you guys spread across the land, did recon as far and wide as you possibly could, and went, there's a crater that way. It is huge. It's big enough for establish ourselves. And we are going to have a voluntary Trail of Tears situation where you guys all mass migrated hundreds of wars and things like that as best you could. And it was like the only thing everybody talked about for like decades and decades, because it was like this crazy thing.
Can one of us make a note tomorrow when we have Sir Robert and Dwight to pick a date for that event?
Sure.
the
Sure.
Great Lizard Migration.
Yeah, the Great Lizard
Yes.
Migration.
I'll
We're
put
gonna
that
we
in.
need to make sure that the necessary starfalls happen first, and there's enough time for all this stuff to
Yeah.
happen since then. But we should put dates and locations on these historical events we're coming up with,
Date.
because this
Yeah.
is pure gold.
Yes, it is, Dave. I love your insistence that the lizard men have like gone far and wide and formed this huge network. I was just trying to think, like, what is some massive motivating force that would make them do, this crazy? Because it's like the Israelis, right? They're a very small nation, and they don't have a huge intelligence community. But damn, do they have some serious global coverage because they're incredibly motivated to send out their tendrils and be collecting intel worldwide.
And
Similarly, yeah,
a
that's
lot
good.
of their thinking, so I linked you guys a video there that you might, just whenever you might check it out. It's it has some information on like traditional D&D lizard psychology, and the I think I'm still trying to figure out how to role play this. It might be a little tricky. But
Okay.
Generally, the like traditional D&D lizard folks are like borderline feral. They, I mean, like, and I think I want these lizards to be a step or two above that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the lizard I drew has a loincloth.
Nice.
As opposed to just running around naked.
Like kobolds. Kobolds are... No kobold is ever going to learn to read.
Yeah.
But you can read.
Well,
we should decide whether you can read. Okay,
probably
you
not.
can't read.
Well, especially the... I see lizards as, like, oral tradition. They didn't really develop an alphabet.
Okay.
They...
Kobolds are just too dumb.
Yeah. I think they do have a shamanic class because of their study of the Starfall. And
well,
that,
I think you guys...
and the whole... Again, their fear of extinction by Starfall and their survival instinct drove them to, develop those, the advanced sociology to study astronomy in those ways. I think that makes sense.
I think that the lizard men probably have some insightful oral traditions about the Starfalls,
Yep.
but I don't think that they will have plumbed quite the depths of like the mechanics of what's happening with Starfalls in the way that the oldest, most ancient wizarding towers and academies on the East Coast or whatever, wherever it's densest. Do you guys want to have it be in the East just to keep in keeping with the way that our planet spins, so that conceptually,
to have what?
Well,
the
the sun is rising in the east because the Earth is spinning in such a way that the sun we are turning towards the sun, so the sun is showing in the east. Do you want to keep that conceptually consistent with the real world and have the eastern edge, or do you want to have it be the north, or like the northwestern or the northeastern edge? Or I like the idea of it being north-ish as opposed to south-ish, because that, like Ender's Game, the enemy gate is down. That it gives the image of the stars coming this way and the planets coming up. And so, granted, the planet's actually flat as it's coming up, but conceptually, they're meeting north to north, top to top. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, that seems all right. I like it.
Say it again.
Okay, so the northern side of the continent is the one that has more starfall. And
Yeah.
so you're kind of merging the dimensions of up and forward. You're
Sure.
making them coexistent, right?
Yeah, that seems fine.
Conceptually, it's easier for the listener.
Makes sense.
Okay. So the northern edge of the continent is more densely peppered with starfalls. There are more
Yeah.
ancient ruins. There's more political upheaval, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And then to the south is where things are the Wild West, right? Because
Yeah.
they're so much farther apart,
And
some
that's
of
where
them are even older than, like, probably some of the oldest starfall threads are on the south part of the continent, right? Because they've had nothing to compete with them and choke them out or make them fall.
And the lizards would have probably migrated down there somewhere.
South, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because that means that we've now got kind of a Helmslev disk, where I like the idea that the northern edge of the continent, we know where the northern edge of the continent is. It's like a matter of myth and opinion and difficult to discern, quote unquote, fact as to where the southern edge of the continent is. It could be vast in ways that people up north aren't really sure about.
I actually had a I had a tiny light bulb in terms of character creation.
Nice,
That,
nice.
My developing the lizard folk racially is gonna do a lot more for me than developing my individual character. That, I mean, because he's part of a collectivist, tribal culture where, where the group is so much more important than the individual. That his motives and a lot of personality and a lot of that kind of stuff is going to be subsumed in the collective, motives. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I see you started this Lizard Folk document as a Microsoft Word document and then brought it over to Google Docs.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
That's-
in Google Docs now.
Josh, can you see my Fack the Thunderer document?
Let's see here.
I can.
Player character notes. Matt, Thack the Thunderer. Thack the Thunderer
Well,
is a
don't-
half-orc bard.
This
Thack
is
was
this
born.
is don't read it because this is Thack's backstory that that Starfall Collective will have to find out during the adventure. But you can know
Oh,
as
I
the
can't.
DM.
I'm not.
But Dave shouldn't know.
There we go.
Okay, I would say that, yeah, okay. Very good. Very good.
Got it.
This is I think what I've got highlighted here. This first section is like his sort of central internal conflict,
Okay.
which is the standard half orc internal conflict. He's got human tendencies that were instilled in him in one way, orcish tendencies instilled in him in another way, constantly having to choose between them.
Okay, I'm going to make a note here for a thing that I want you to flesh out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, there's room here for like a whole adventure. Like how did his parents get together in the first place?
yeah, here I'm going to put the germ of that here, and we can flesh that out in the in that arc. You could even play as either your mother or your father in this arc. So.
Sure. Josh, in what sort of physical situation do you think Thack would have found the magic guitar?
He found it in a shop.
No, it's got to be out in the woods or out in the plains somewhere.
Okay,
so is
that's
it like
fair.
The Lady of the Lake, or is it like it's inside of a tree that has grown over it over years, or is it in down a well? He hears it first, and he goes towards the sound.
You've heard. Okay, you were playing in a inn that is at the edge of a crater that is filled with jungle, and Dave, there may even have been a pocket of lizard folk and saurons, some forms of dinosaurs that lived in the area. But Thack heard this local tale of this female bard who came through the area. Okay. All right, we'll do. Yep, we'll do. I'm in the middle of something. Yep, in very soon, a few minutes. Yep. Can you close the door, please? Hey, hon, can you close the door, please? Thanks. Okay. Yeah. So, hang on one sec. So he heard this rumor that she went in there with a crazy killer magical instrument and never came out, which means that it's still in there somewhere. And so I think you probably braved the location to get to the middle of the crater, and you found it and brought it out with you. And there was no sign of her.
Okay. Sure.
And that's something that we can talk about in greater detail, because I figured we would probably play that out as a backstory. But
maybe
if you want to just
someday,
okay.
I think we can leave it in the past.
Okay.
But, okay. Yeah. No. This is his genesis as an adventurer and not just a musician.
Yeah, they're the same thing for all bards in this world. One of the things that you have to do to become a bard is find a worthy instrument. And so that's part of the reason why you bit off this whole crazy go into the jungle and track down the instrument because the reason why she went in there was to follow this crazy goose chase to get the thing enchanted.
In this time and culture.
Right, in this time and culture.
Among humans and orcs and in this area, and a bard is not respected and can't really make a living or something without having some heroic story about how they acquired their instrument.
Yeah, the instrument that you start learning on and you go through Bard College and everything is not the instrument that you step out onto the stage as an actual first level bard with powers. Because there are other bards that don't have powers, but to get that first level, you have to. One of the rites of passage is to get that worthy instrument, and you found yours. So. Okay, cool. Sure. I need to go put my kid to bed. If you're still on in a bit, then I'll continue to talk to you, but I need to depart for at least 5 minutes.
I'm probably going to go to bed pretty soon too, but I'll try to finish this, so we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, Dave, do you want to talk more about your lizard folk stuff in 5 minutes?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Yeah, I'll be back in a bit.
Cool. The lizards can speak, read, and write Common and Draconic.
Oh yeah, yeah. Lizard.
Forgot about that.
All lizards have one, like, core language, which is Draconic.
Yeah.
They would tend to like worship dragons and stuff too, right? Do you worship dragons?
I don't know.
It depends. I mean, dragons.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the dragon. It's like if the dragon is okay with having some really, really pathetic followers,
Yeah.
then like it will put up with things like kobolds and lizard folk.
I think so. They're probably not going to venerate anything that they see as inferior to the Starfall, just because of utility. Like, what good is this dragon to us in comparison to the Starfall? Yeah.
Should I put this over
So I
here?
guess it kind of depends on like what the rest of the cosmology is like.
Yes. No. I think this view is better.
I think
We're gonna have to do something about our comparative head sizes, Dave.
Oh.
I have to be like here for my head to be as big on the screen as yours is. I want to be there. I guess I can scooch up a little bit. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Has any work been done on a map yet? Okay.
That was,
Are we gonna do that tomorrow?
we're gonna do that tomorrow when we have
Okay, cool.
everybody.
Sweet. I think some stuff I'm just not gonna be able to fill out without a map.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, a lot of, like, I am not able to locate Thak's home, like
Yeah.
his birthplace yet, because we haven't built enough of the map yet.
Yeah.
Should I print off a character sheet for you?
Sure.
Ruh-roh. Looks like Matt did not go to bed as quickly as he said he would.
Yep.
So, Mr. Davitsky, we had more to speak of concerning your lizard man.
Sorry. I think there was a question I had. So I guess just generally, like, he's a lizard ranger. He's kind of out in not lizard territory, doing lizard ranger things, gathering information, keeping the borders safe, investigating the Starfall, stuff that lizard rangers do.
Yeah, I would say that probably this is not a rite of passage, but this is like your first big assignment. This is your first, because you're a level 1 ranger, which means that most of the quote-unquote ranger work that gets done is being done by people who don't even have a full level of ranger, where they have like spells and stuff like that. So you're at that first rung of the elite tier, and you've been sent out to investigate this starfall that's happened in the village that Matt is playing, and that Dwight's character has also very similarly been sent by his institution to go check out.
So he's like, so this thing the template has lizard folk reaching maturity around age 14, and they rarely live longer than 60 years. So he's probably been, like, rangering for a few years, like, rangering as an adult lizard. And
he may only be like 20 then. He may not be a full 30.
Yeah, so maybe more like 20, or, I mean, so obviously they mature older, faster than a lot of other races, humans especially. But so yeah, he's probably like 20-ish. Yeah, and so this, I think that makes sense. having this as like his first Starfall investigation. Like
Okay.
his first assignment other than just like patrol the border. Yeah.
So there's a order across the land that operates outside of the authority of the wizarding academies and the trade guilds, and those are the Starfall Hunters, and they kind of share maps and shit. They're like the open source counterculture kind of entity across the world. You know, there are cells all over the world of Starfall Hunters. The name doesn't have a it's like in order to be a therapist, you have to have an accreditation and everything. But to be a counselor, anybody can be a counselor. Anybody can hang a shingle and say they're a counselor. That's kind of the way it is with Starfall Hunters.
Yeah.
But Rangers are very pragmatic and don't want to submit themselves to the austere oversight of the Wizarding Academy. So Rangers are kind of some of the more official, badass, and informed of the Starfall Hunters. But they definitely have their own agendas and their own information, and whatnot. But you would be more than likely to interact with other Star Hunters and trade information with them.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what the. Yeah, I mean they're probably not like lizards probably aren't gonna join a formal guild or anything, but that's that sounds kind of a lot like what I'd envisioned the Lizard Ranger network doing already. So they're very much on the same page, and I mean, so long as it doesn't, like, their involvement and association doesn't conflict with their, protect the tribe instinct, they're probably more than happy to collaborate with other Starfall hunters.
So, I don't know whether I want to give this away now or save this for a reveal in game.
Save it.
I'll save it.
Well,
I'll save it. Yeah. Okay.
I might want to know this, but even if Matt doesn't.
So.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why you've come is because the Rangers end up doing a lot of kind of contract work for the elves.
Yep.
And for the Feywild. Like, you guys have a generally friendly, though strictly professional relationship with elves and things of the Feywild and druids and stuff like that. Like, you are not a Feywild druid. Right. You are much more of a, you're much closer to the Mother Earth kind of thing, whereas the druids are like the Feywild. But there is something happening with the tree, with the oath tree. And so that's probably something that would concern you, because you guys end up using a lot of the like a lot of the Feywild magic in this world, in this area of the world at least, is heavily based around trees and the life and the magic that ancient trees have.
Yeah, I'd imagine and Blizzard shamans would be tapped into that.
Yes. Yeah. To the degree. Go ahead. Yeah.
You remember the rule I said about Starfalls?
What do you mean?
That we can't have an adventure that's centered on a Starfall until later. Remember? It's like the first thing we talked about, because we have to start small.
Yeah. This is not a giant world-shattering Starfall event.
Right, but like, it's not like, oh, well, I mean, I would prefer if it was more of a normal D&D adventure,
Okay, so it doesn't there doesn't have to have been a Starfall that happened a couple of years ago. There can just be a thing that happened a couple of years ago, and so Dave's
The
character,
lizards think
Dwight,
it's related to a starfall. It might not
yes,
be.
yeah, that's very true. You guys could basically be going, hey, if something weird's happening, maybe it's
It's
because of a
probably a
Starfall.
starfall. We better check it out.
Yeah, and as lizard folk, you guys may just be kind of hyper focused on that as a society.
Very,
Yeah.
To the point of paranoia sometimes.
That's
Okay,
good.
that's fair. In
I
that
think
case,
I don't want it to turn into Monster of the Week where it's Starfall of the season.
sure.
Other stuff has to be going on.
Sure. All right, so Dave, you are investigating a Starfall.
I think I'm investigating a starfall.
Everybody else is investigating a situation. So, that's fair. Okay. So you feel strongly about trying to stay away from making it centered around Starfalls. You want it to be centered on the world, and Starfalls happen to be a major thing that shapes the
Using
world.
Starfalls for plot is a crutch, and we don't need it.
Okay, I gotcha.
It's
okay.
literally Deus Ex Machina.
Okay.
We, the DMs, are just sending down whatever we want from the literal sky. So
if
it's
you play directly off of it, it's Deus Ex Machina. If you play off the implications of it.
I'm sorry I can't hear you, Josh. Something happened to your sound.
Sorry.
It's going.
My headphones.
It's not.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Josh, do you know Sanderson's law?
Do I know what?
Sanderson's
Sanders?
first law.
Sanders? No, I do not know. What is
I'll tell
Sanderson? Okay. If characters, especially viewpoint characters, solve a problem by use of magic, the reader should be made to understand how that magic works. Otherwise, the magic can constitute a deus ex machina. Ideally, the magic is explained to the reader before it's used to resolve a conflict.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Things,
absolutely. I am building all of this conflict with that in mind.
Cool. Great. I just want to the reason I made that rule is not arbitrary.
Oh yeah, no, I understand.
There's a good creative writing reason behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. So here's kind of an issue, and I guess part of this is kind of a question of how you want to run the narrative.
Okay.
And possibly the role my character would play in that. So in this, so with the whole issue of Starfalls, I guess if I'm going to role play this guy accurately, it's going to put my motivations possibly very much at odds with the rest of the party. Maybe in conflict with them, though not necessarily, but sometimes just divergent, because lizards just don't care about the things in the same way.
This is something we talked about, Josh.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing though, right? I mean that's going to make the story that much richer because you guys are all going to be facing the same problem. You're all going to have different motivations for facing it and different means by which you're going to want to face it and resolve it, and maybe even different metrics by which you consider it to be resolved. And
So
that's fine. Maybe you guys all get a win-win-win. Maybe somebody gets a lose in the face of other things, and that would provide a lot of tension along the way, because you guys, that would make that person the squeaky wheel, providing dissonance to what would otherwise be a boringly,
Yeah.
harmonious and
Yes.
consonant.
But also, we have
so
Dave's character has to have a reason to stay with the party.
well,
Mm.
maybe. So Matt, okay, admittedly, Matt's been selling me hard on this, and I'm starting to come over. I guess when he originally pitched me as a PC,
Dave didn't want to be on every week.
yeah, I kind of envisioned myself as a sometimes in, sometimes out character, like
Sure.
pseudo NPC almost.
Yeah.
I I kind of like the idea of a semi-rotating cast. I think it's kind of, you know what I mean?
I'm familiar with the concept of rotating characters in and out of a cast, yeah.
Yeah. Where
I mean, I think that there's
you
a lot
have
of...
like a core cast, but you might have, some characters, and I don't know, maybe like the first season isn't the best to be trying that out, but at least
Yeah, especially to start the story, I feel like all the time that an individual spends at the table with a particular set of other players at the table, everybody builds up a rich set of connections between the players at the table. And so if you've got people, if you got individuals / characters ducking in and out, then you're starting those threads up and then letting them go cold and forgetting about them, and they get sloppy. And I feel like it's already difficult enough to, with the players at the table, explore all the good, rich options for dialogue and drama and cooperation and creativity.
So
Hey guys, I'm gonna go to bed.
Go to bed.
Dave, here's the button right here that you click to stop the stream.
Okay. Is that all I need to do?
That's all you need to do.
Okay.
The stream will stop when you click that button.
Okay. And then I can just leave everything.
They tried to stop it, Mel, but they couldn't stop the signal.
Okay.
Can tell Matt good night, sailor boy, from me.
Josh says good night, sailor boy.
Because his hoodie looks like a midshipman's.
Because your hoodie looks like a midshipman's shirt.
From the 1800s.
From the 1800s.
Good night to you also. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night.
Right on.
So.
Anyway, yeah. So.
Matt and I think, are both of the same opinion that we would both love to see you richly and in a prolonged fashion inhabit one character and bring him to the table with great force and resolve over time. But if it would make you significantly happier to jump in, jump out, play different characters, and explore lots of different types of role play, I do not in any way want to deprive you of a thing that will bring you happiness. So,
okay, Matt's good. Yeah, so it's been a really long time since since I was like a dedicated PC in any role playing campaign. I have done like cameo roles in my brother's campaigns before.
Sure.
and stuff like that. And I did do a Star Wars campaign like a year ago with Dwight and some guys, but that didn't
Okay.
last super
Cool.
long. But it was still fun. I get. I'm not. I think I've mellowed over time. But
Okay.
one of I think I found as a player character, like way back when I did role playing more often.
Mm-hmm.
I think I often felt kind of stymied by the rules, or like
Oh.
just in terms of like, I found it. It's like kind of frustrating, in that I often felt like I wasn't sure how to do what I wanted to do within like the rules of whatever system I was working on.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Okay.
like you know, well, there was one like more recent campaign. We were just doing like a one shot or something like that, but like my character got killed because of a rules technicality. Like I was trying to do one thing, and yeah, like there was a way that I could have done what I wanted to do, but
And so it
but I
sounds
didn't
like
know about it, and then I
gotcha.
found out afterwards that, oh, this is how that works, and if I'd known how it works, I wouldn't have died.
Right. Right.
So like stuff like I've had stuff like that happen.
Okay.
And so, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of probably just a reflection of my inadequate understanding of the systems. So,
Well, I
I mean,
mean that's no small. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm not super familiar with the D&D system. I don't have tons of experience with it, so I mean, yeah. So
Okay. That's fair.
yeah, like I'm a bit of a when it comes to the like rules and mechanics, at least I might be not the strongest link.
That's fair. That's fair. And that is not my game mastering style. I will probably never crush someone at the table because that's what the rules say happens, and you should have known better. Like that's that could not be farther. Like my theory behind the rules is that the primary goals are for people to enjoy the story together and enjoy telling the story together. And the rules exist as a tool that we use to tell the story. And so if at some point the rules impede that to the point that it makes for a bad experience for you guys, the players, or a tedious experience for you and the audience, then I will waive that and come up with a narrative thing and I'll still make you do a check, and there's going to be some, but yeah, I'm not going to let the rules suck the joy out of it or make it a terrible consequence.
Because like,
what's that?
I mean, I think that's kind of why I've shied away from like committed campaigns in the back, or like why I've just not gotten into being a dedicated PC in a really long time.
How much? play?
I don't know, like a couple, like 1 or 2 sessions. It wasn't much. Like 1 or 2 sessions. It wasn't much.
Oh, okay, all right. But still,
like,
that's a cold trip, man.
Yeah.
That's a crummy thing to have happen.
Yeah. I don't know.
Was
it's
it
kind
Matt?
of it's kind of an extreme.
Did Matt kill your character? Do I need to kill Matt's character?
Yes.
Was it Matt? Did he do it?
Yes. Kill him.
Who hurt you? Who hurt you, Dave? We're gonna burn this thing to the ground.
Yes.
Oh,
this
man.
is secretly my goal.
Yeah.
Well, kind of a. I mean, so again, like the Matt's. I mean, I'm gonna do my best to you know, to be a good PC, and all that, and help us tell a good story. I do have, and Matt's been, and Matt, I don't know, Matt has, like I said, Matt's kind of been selling me on this, so, I guess I am a little more interested in, maybe being a little more involved. But I do want to kind of pitch that idea to you.
Okay.
Of
playing NPCs in general.
No, of kind of using my character, possibly as a tool for narrative purposes. Because, and I mean, I think there are some dynamics that you might be able to do some interesting stuff along those lines.
Okay.
Like, the lizards, the kind of lizard sociology and lizard society that is very much crossways to most of the other what you're seeing in most of the other races. This kind of insular, xenophobic, highly tribal, communal mindset, kind of
I love that.
Amoral, utilitarian, survival instinct.
Definitely got to have a moment where a lizard folk trade caravan shows up at the village and does the trade run. Okay. And there's a little girl, and like she tries to go talk to some human, and the parent is like, "Oh no, those are dangerous and scary beings."
Dude, I have a note on lizard trade caravans. Lizards don't trade.
Okay.
They do collect stuff, and periodically, like, lizards will, like they'll get, they'll get their stuff together and send it back to the lizard settlement. And if you see, like, most races generally know that if you see a lizard caravan in the wild, like a couple, like more than just like 2 or 3 lizards traveling together, like you see 10, 20 lizards with several wagons going through, going along, you get away.
Because they're so hyper protective.
That's a lizard, like, they're carrying artifacts and information, and like that's a delivery going to the top level lizard shamans. And
so they're shaman-based society.
Yeah, they're like, the shamans are the ones that are studying the Starfall. I mean, there's probably like, bull lizards, like alpha bulls, but the shamans are they're the ones who are paying attention to the Starfall, which lizards as a whole see as the primary threat to their existence.
Okay.
So it's really important. anyway, these caravans are like, this is like the wealth and information and stuff going back to the thing, to the lizard settlement. And, like, if, like, they will protect that at all costs. Like, they see that as, like, the stuff that's gonna keep them alive. Like, this is what they use to and it may actually be, like, useless stuff. I mean, they collect trinkets that they don't know what they do, and they just send it back. But like, if you attack a lizard caravan and steal their stuff, they will hunt you down, and they will burn you and your family and your village and everyone you have met because you robbed their caravan.
So they're extremely not only territorial and possessive, but vindictive when crossed.
Yeah, and particularly when it comes to their, like that survival imperative, which is very much tied up in the Starfall.
Gotcha. So they see their lives as being very precarious, and it takes a great deal to,
So there are some.
I like that. They might not be as. Go ahead.
So in a lot of ways, they have developed beyond, just being borderline feral. Like, they can kind of function along the edges of society. Like, they often hire out as scouts or trackers or guides or things like that. And they work with the other Starfall hunters and all that. But like, they have some lines that if you get up next to them, they're really gonna go on edge, and if you cross those lines, you're in serious hot water.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the things that I think lizard folk are known for is, like, if you take a lizard folk's seat, he might kill you for the seat, right? Because they develop these weird, or like, they've all got some sort of knife or handkerchief or just some sort of artifact that all lizard men have, and if you, like, touch that or try to take it from them, they'll, like, wig out completely and utterly. And so there's entire categories of, like, misinformation and false legends about lizard men. And
yeah, I was thinking there might be like legends of lizard treasure vaults or cities of gold or things like that probably don't actually exist in the way that people talk about them, but are still kind of things that float around, and probably I suspect the Rangers have kind of developed enough social intelligence to be like, we need to do something about these wild myths, because we're gonna get treasure hunters invading our land, and that's bad.
Yes, I was gonna say. So I would imagine that this is like an. Go ahead.
That kind of stuff a little bit, but it still gets out there some.
Right. I was going to say, I imagine this is a little bit like a broken clock is right twice a day, and even a fool panning for gold long enough will find a nugget.
Yeah.
These guys are not scholars. They're not Indiana Jones. They don't know exactly what to be looking for. They just bring it all home and let the higher-ups sort it out. So there's probably, near, just outside of lizard folk settlements, there's probably enormous piles of discarded stuff, and there's probably humans and elves that live among the lizard folk just to kind of
Probably not.
peer over their shoulders and
No.
stuff. You think that there's no outsiders living among the lizard folk?
Very, very, very rare.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
they're not gonna let people like set up shop in their main settlement.
Okay. I like that idea that it is exceedingly difficult to
Like-
get audience
Yeah.
and trade negotiations with lizard folk.
They don't trade.
Right.
They don't have
They just
much-
they don't do it. They just
have
don't do
much
it.
to trade in the first place. That
Right, because they're very subsistence based kind
Yeah.
of society
They're-
anyway.
technology is fairly primitive.
Right. Magical technology kind of stuff.
Yeah, they probably lean more into the magic. I mean, the shamans are where they're putting most of their intellectual energy, the shamanic activities.
Yeah,
They're
I was
pretty-
gonna
They're
go
pretty
ahead.
sturdy anyway, so like they can weather the elements.
Yeah, you guys are immune to disease.
They sleep outside.
Right.
They have
Right,
AC
right, right.
13 naturally.
Yeah, you guys are able to eat
They
even
eat
carrion.
everything.
Yeah.
Although they've kind of figured, at this point, they've kind of figured out that just eating other races' corpses indiscriminately is usually a bad idea.
I guess eventually maybe you got some sort of magical disease from that.
Well, we, mobs probably came after us for desecrating their dad.
Yep. There's probably some sort of fairy tale about the lizard folk mortician who was found eating his clients.
Yeah. Or, your adventuring party that had a lizard in it, and somebody went down, and the lizard man decided that this was a good time to have lunch.
Right.
And the
Right.
rest of the party didn't take too kindly to that.
Yeah, are lizard folk cannibalistic after the fact? Like, they wouldn't necessarily kill each other to eat each other, but
No,
they're
would-
not going
they
to
wouldn't
pass up
kill
a
each
meal.
other, but yeah, like a dead lizard man is lunch.
Nice.
Free lunch.
Nice. I love it.
So
I love it.
They'll eat their own dead. They'll eat. I mean, yeah.
They'll
like,
eat dead,
my
and it's
character-
indiscriminate.
Yeah, my character will be regularly eating the corpses of the monsters we kill.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Or like harvesting their bones for weapons, whatever.
There's a very interesting ranger archetype called the scrimshaw, where you carve bones, and the bones that you carve have magic in them, and so you have abilities just for the day based off of the bones that you carved that morning. It's very cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It worth checking out. Yeah.
I could see there being there being lizard scrimshaws or something. Maybe like sort of a ranger shaman hybrid.
I mean, it's
Somewhere
a
between
core
the two
it's a
classes.
core rule thing within the ranger
Yeah.
group, but it is definitely the most shamanic
Yeah.
of all the ranger archetypes.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was part of why I mentioned it, was because you were talking about bones and flesh, and it's an extremely dark, creepy, gritty, but not evil.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Weird.
okay, dude, so you
I
ripped
could-
the bones out of the things you kill and carved your magic into them.
I could definitely
Okay.
I could definitely see. They're probably not too common, but I could definitely see there being lizards of that sort. I
Yeah, who
think
do
you'd have
that?
to have like a shaman take a ranger under his wing, or another.
Right,
scrimshaw
yeah,
take
yeah.
another
This is basically
one under his
light
wing.
shamanic magic
Yeah.
that you've co-opted into your ranger duties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
like definite. That's definitely a narrative or a character development route that could be possible.
Yeah, and the abilities are good, and they're flexible. Like, you can choose something that buffs your damage. You can choose something that makes you stronger. You can choose something that lets you gives you more hit points. You can choose something that gives you better night vision. You can it's like Batman. You're picking which of the things you're gonna, because you can only have 3 in a day. And so you're picking which of these 3 scrimshaws you're going to add, you're going to wear. So,
yeah.
Well,
that actually brings me back. So that kind of brings me back around to my character within the broader narrative arc. That we were talking about how, like, the, lizard motives and are very much crossways to a lot of other things. And just the way that I've set it up, in terms of, like, rangers within lizard society and their kind of operational priorities. There is a lot of flexibility there in terms of, like, what they might be doing anywhere at a given time. So I guess I'm kind of throwing it out there as to if you want to use that in any way.
So what would you envision using that to look like? What do you mean by that?
I mean, you could have me drop in and out of the plot at different times for different reasons, and we'd have some easy excuses to explain my absence in a given session.
So are you wanting this more so for the flexibility of your play schedule, or are you want me to, you're just going to be willing to be flexible?
Say that again.
Are you wanting to be able to tell me, hey, I would like to duck out for a little while, can you work that in? Or are you wanting me to just tell you when to come and go and you're just going to be flexible?
Well, originally I think I was the former. I think now I'm leaning more towards the latter, and I'm kind of willing for whatever. Because I mean, despite what Matt's been saying, I still feel like it could be interesting to have a character who's not there every single week. That you could do some interesting stuff narratively, like.
Okay, I'll make you a deal. I think of any cool.
Either. This is.
Oh yeah.
I'm
right now
it as an option.
Right now, my sense of it is that I agree with you. Definitely potential for cool stuff to be done with that.
Yeah.
I don't immediately have ideas about how to do that, but I will absolutely keep that in mind as I'm planning. And if I can think of a cool way to use it, I will. Yeah. So I appreciate the offer.
And I'm totally open to that. And like it could be as easy as like my character gets reassigned by the shamanic council. He gets called away, or he discovers they're not actually investigating a Starfall, and he loses interest. He goes off and does something that he believes is more important.
Right.
And then, and there might be, like, we could develop a narrative explanation for that and figure out where he goes, and maybe he's gone for an episode or two, and then A little later, surprise! The party runs into him again, and it turns out that that there's some sort of web that's tying them together.
Gotcha. So when he comes back in, he comes back in sideways, making things more complicated.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's some there's options of things you could do.
Okay.
Yeah, it just gives some flexibility. So I don't know.
Excuse me.
We can see. I've watched some. I don't know. I've watched some campaigns where they've had. Where they've had characters who were not full time, and I kind of liked that as a feature of the campaign. So, I don't know. It's
Any particular examples that come to mind?
L.A. by Night, Geek and Sentry's L.A. by Night.
I am not at all familiar with L.A. by Night.
Vampire the Masquerade campaign.
Oh, I've actually been interested in checking out a Vampire the Masquerade campaign. Would you say L.A. by Night is one of the better ones to check out?
I haven't watched very many of them, but
okay,
it's good. It's probably what you'd expect, and it's kind of. I think I watched like 2 seasons and maybe a little into the 3rd, and I just kind of got tired of the melodrama.
Gotcha.
It's what you'd expect from a dark gothic vampire story.
Okay.
The storyteller, Jason Carl, is really good though, and he did another campaign, Seattle by Night, with Penny Arcade guys.
With what?
With the Penny Arcade crew.
Oh, with Gabe and yeah.
It is
very cool.
Hilarious. It's fantastic.
That's awesome.
I love it. And it was really funny to see him navigate the 2 very tonally different campaigns and very different group dynamics. Like the LA by Night was very serious, very dramatic,
very gritty,
dark, gothic, and the Penny Arcade guys were the Penny Arcade guys.
Yeah.
And he just plays both of those groups. Like his management of both of them are great. But
that's cool.
Anyway, you should watch Seattle by Night just because it's fun.
That sounds like it's more my speed.
Yeah.
I can enjoy the higher melodrama factor stuff, but I think I more prefer the kind of high fantasy. There's fun in there, there's silliness in there, but also ultimately, when somebody's getting their throat slashed in front of the group by a bad guy, that's a poignant, serious moment in the story where you clutch your head and you scream and you're like, oh, how could. Yeah. So I like both the gritty and the silly side by side.
Yeah, but yeah, like LA by Night does that. He has like 4 kind of core team members in the party, and then he has other kind of actors who will come in when their characters are playing a major role in in that session, and they'll just join in the party.
So the cast is much more flexible all around.
Yeah, and I liked that. It was kind of cool to, have these sort of side characters who kind of put their 2 cents in. So they're running a really big cast, and I think Matt has a point, and I think you do too. Of like, I mean, especially early on, like wanting to develop a solid, like a solid cast dynamic. Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that.
You mentioned that one of the things about that is that there's a very large cast, and so they're cycling people in and out because there's too many people to play at the table at once.
No, I think it's just the Geek and Sundry network has access to a lot of like a large number of people they could use for that.
Gotcha. Right.
I mean, like they've got they've got two fists full of of role playing campaigns going at the moment.
Right.
I mean, like
right.
They discovered Critical Role was a big hit, and then they just went all in.
Oh yeah.
On that, so
what's your opinion of Critical Role?
I don't know. I've watched a few random episodes.
Okay.
I don't know. That's about all I know about it.
Okay.
I mean, I know about it, but I haven't watched it much.
Okay. Yeah, I tried to get into it, and it's good. I couldn't quite get into it because there were a lot of people at the table, and part of the I felt like I didn't get, because we jumped in midstream.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see those characters form as who they are.
Yeah.
And so they're doing a lot of things, and I feel like people are being like, oh, that's so such and such. I'm like, is it? I don't know this person's brand. I feel no nostalgia.
Yeah, I felt that way too, I think, actually. They're kind of, I don't know, feels a little kind of...
Yeah, it's like some guys are like, who touched my frog? Oh my gosh, he said the thing about the frog. You're like,
not the frog!
Sorry, what does the frog have to do with anything? Did he have a pet frog? I mean, is this a euphemism?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just couldn't get into their shorthand.
Yeah. I mean, you probably ought to. I mean, to really appreciate it, one probably needs to watch it from the beginning.
Yeah. I need to start from the top,
so.
Because I totally recognize that the players are doing a great job. Like, people are making great choices.
Mercer
the DM's great.
A good DM. They're all good actors. They're all solid actors, experienced. So, I mean, the quality of the production quality is there.
Yeah.
I mean, that much is obvious. But anyway.
Well, we have a Talamini on our side, so it will be interesting seeing how someone with a master's in creative writing from Brown, kind of coaching and informing the project on all layers, will. It's definitely helping me improve my DMing. So, although I made the mistake, whatever. Never mind. So, well, I've got to get up early with a tiny person who is going to get up early, so I should probably bounce. But I'm glad we had a chance to talk about this and chew on it from multiple angles, like a lizard folk with a large carcass.
Yeah, I think I have an idea of. Well, I think I'm just gonna have to I think at this point, I'm just gonna roll this guy up and fill out his stuff.
Okay.
And then he'll sort of fill the space.
He will.
Of what it is to be a lizard. And we'll go from there. So
I like the decisions that you've made for lizard folk in general, though. Those are good.
Lizards are cool.
We'll have to convert those all into official wiki notes.
Anyway, yeah, so keep me, if you want to do any narrative manipulation. I don't know, using my character. I'm willing to sit that fence between PC and NPC.
Sure. Sure.
As it serves the story. I've done that kind of stuff for my brother before.
Okay.
In some of his campaigns.
I'll keep it in mind.
So, you know.
You the man. You sleep tight. Enjoy your Sunday night, and enjoy your MLK day off.
All right. Well,
I'll see you tomorrow night.
Talk to you later.
All right. Talk to you later. Have a good night.